Are
for
you at having your office hours right now, Albert?
yeah, I'm over here in Bellevue Square. Matt, my processor, he just brought over some dim sum, so we had some dim sum here.
Nice.
A little bit of international district over here in Bellevue Square.
I'll show you who I'm hanging with.
Oh, Buddy? I knew it, Buddy. Yeah.
There he is. That's my boy. Right on.
Buddy's always good.
Buddy's always good. Yeah, there's like 3 meetups happening right now, all at the same time. I think yours, this one, and Augie and I think Matt Flynn are down in Edmonds, having some sort of meetup.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
There,
I think him and Oggs are doing an open office too, I think.
Yeah, exactly. So I encourage people are probably better off going to one of those today than being here, I think. Not that ours are great, but that's those are some good peeps to hang out with, right? They're all at the same time.
It's always good to hear different ways of structuring the deal. And,
so yeah,
how to put it together.
You saw my post. I've got a 7 unit I've been working on for a while now. I'll be like a legend along with Joanna on my team if we pull this off, which I'm sure we will, because we have the relationship, right, with the seller, who is an elderly lady. But it's a 7 unit building in West Seattle, has kick-ass views. Boy, somebody could really do something there with like a rooftop deck and all that stuff. She lives in the penthouse. Everybody's been trying to buy this building for years and years and years, but she's quite a character to deal with. And, so we are getting ready to list this thing. We've had it under contract twice and it fell out, but it needs about $200,000 to $300,000 of deferred maintenance, plus call it $175,000 to renovate 6 units. And then she lives in the penthouse, which is going to be another.
Is that the one with the penthouse at the top, at the end of Junction, that was pending?
No. It's probably, you mean years ago or?
No, like 8 months ago it was pending. I remember there was one. Okay. I'm like, shoot, I like that one. That was nice. It was a big building.
Yeah, this is a good solid building. It's just needs full renovation, and it's completely, like the elevator doesn't even work and things like that. Wow. It needs a new roof. None of the sliders really operate properly. The units are great sizes of the unit sizes and stuff. But anyways, so I keep having these buyers come at me and say, yeah, we're going to, put 20% down. I said, no, you're not. I think we had this discussion before, right? So
yeah.
I'm sort of, and then the agents get really pissed off at me because I say, send this pro forma to your lender and ask them, what your loan's going to look like, because you're going to need to put like 50% down or something. And then you're going to, or including some of this renovation money and so forth. So they just don't understand it. It's amazing to me how many agents with their investor buyers come at me and they just completely don't understand the loan stuff and get really pissed at me when I say, we're not going to let you go under contract with what you're proposing.
Yeah. Well, I mean, even if you ask some of the commercial agents, they probably wouldn't know how, unless they're really good. They've been in this a long time.
Right. So what do you think? So you guys might, I don't know who's on here because I'm just on my phone here, but happy to send you the pro forma just so you can look at it as well. But obviously.
Is it a flat roof, Julie?
What's that?
Is it flat roof, 60s built?
Flat roof, yeah.
Mansard roof, like the French style?
What's that?
Like a mansard roof with the shingles on the side, slanted?
No, just straight up flat roof. Somebody could really do something spectacular if they properly built a good roof up there to withstand some sort of deck or something. I mean, it's insane, just full view of Seattle. Or, whatever, partial penthouse access, but, you know, I'd love to buy the building, but it's, you know, so capital intensive. She's not going to sell or finance it. And just, you know, I would need a partner to, like a construction partner is just too much to, I mean, I would rock it on the numbers, but, you know, I could do it, I guess, if I wanted to, but I don't want to commit all my capital to that project. So, anyways, I'm trying to talk to people that know what's up on what a good, if somebody really did want to get a loan, ideally we'd want to catch fire, but what kind of options are there for a purchase plus a, call it a budget of, you know, 500,000 for rehab, and the rents are super low. So on a, like a 1.25 debt coverage ratio on existing numbers, right?
Yeah.
It would be like a, you know, 50% loan to value if you had to do a debt service.
What expenses were you using? 40% of the gross income, or what were you just using
That's
actuals?
another thing is that, you know, I don't know what they're going to use. Probably they're not going to use less than what?
At least 40, because it's 60s built, right? It's an older building.
You think it's going to be 40? I was just hanging out. You guys know who
35 to
Cody
40.
Davis is, right?
Yeah.
Young Cody Davis, up and coming. He just closed on, I think, a couple duplexes yesterday. He's up to 80 something units now. I hung out with Cody yesterday, and I was explaining to him that he is financing all his stuff through seller financing right now, and maybe some other debt that he's got for his down payment. And I said, at some point, you're probably, if you learn how to use the substitution of collateral clause with some of these seller finance properties, and they love you and they love you paying them, and, you know, but it's the time where the building is appreciated enough that you could put on a kind of a long-term, you know, commercial loan, you might be able to roll that seller finance stuff into a different property if they like you and you've done such a great job building the relationship, right? But you need to understand, he's looking at like, well, here's my property and here's all the numbers. And I said, well, here's the problem with what you're thinking. You're thinking like, these are my numbers and my NOI. And so if I do this, and this will be my loan amount. And I said, that's not accurate, because the lender will not use your numbers, particularly for your expenses, just like you said, right? You know, his expenses are running in the, you know, 20 something percent or some small number.
Wow,
right?
20%. Yeah, right.
You know, I mean, I said, no, lender's not going to look at it that way. They're going to add on something for capital reserves. They're going to not
250 per unit usually, or higher. If it's an older building, they might want 500 a year.
Right. You know, or
750
you know, and
sometimes.
I said, and just because you're self-managing, they're going to add in, you know, they're going to add in a management number, even though you're self.
Yeah, you know, Julia, 500 a unit doesn't sound like much. Times 7, that's 3,500 a year that they're reducing your net operating income by.
Yeah,
it doesn't sound like much, but it could reduce your loan amount to the point where, when all things combine, your loan amount's so low that you have to bring in 55 down, and it's just not a deal anymore.
Right.
So,
I mean, it just, there, you just have to model it out, right? Maybe it depends on probably where you're at in your investing career and da-da-da-da-da, right? The upside is going to be nice, but so for what kind of loan do you think would apply best?
I think Pat Crest would do a good job on that. I don't know if they'd give you rehab money, but they'll give you 30% loan to cost, which is nice. Pat Crest, Pacific.
Oh, okay. They'll give you 30% loan to cost.
Yeah. What are so if it's 3 million, they're going to give you 2.1. You're going to bring in 900 grand.
Regardless of debt service coverage.
Regardless of debt, well, it has to be at least 1.0, so it'll go down to 1.0.
Okay, so 1.0, and
their expenses, based on their expenses, probably 40%.
1.0 based on their expenses, and they'll give you, what'd you say? They'll let you go 30% down?
Up to 70 loan to cost or loan to value. And
loan to cost,
as long as
loan to value on the renovated loan to value?
No, the current, your buy price. So if your buy price is 3 million, they're going to lend you 2.1.
Right.
up to 2.1. It could be lower.
Including your renovation costs. Or no?
I don't believe they do the rehab. It's just the acquisition. It's a bridge money, but it's
Oh,
bank, so it's cheap. I mean, relatively cheap, probably 5.5.
right.
Better than going in like a hard money bridge loan that's 7.5, 8, 9%.
No, you know, probably just need somebody that can put 50% down.
Or you can have that. I mean, that's the other way, right? Bring in the equity. Bring in the
Yeah.
big guns.
I think see, and so that's what this one needs, is probably the big guns bringing in the equity. Just because it's capital intensive, I would say, you know, so yeah, I'm trying to explain this it's funny. You wouldn't think that that's the difficult part about, a building or transaction like this or whatever, is having to explain to the damn agents, like, no, they're like, well, how do you know? You can't tell me what's going on, and we won't know until we're under contract and we send all the information to our lender. I'm like, what do you mean I don't know? I do know, right? I do know, and I do know that your loan won't work how you're proposing it to me. So take this pro forma and show it to your lender and come back to me and tell me what they say, right? It pretty much shuts them up. But
I would say most commercial lenders don't even know. Like, I mean, they can go back and do their workflows and figure it out. But on the phone, if they gave me the numbers, I'd be like, wow, we're really far off. Those Marcus guys that call me, they don't know on the phone.
Yeah, they don't know. I have them, you know, tell me, oh, no problem, you know, this and that. I'm like, no. The rents are really low. You know, you need to understand this. So whatever, we'll see what happens. But
like, I had Sound Community Bank, you know, Sound Credit Union, tell me they could do 80%, and then they reviewed a deal and it's like, oh, sorry, it was only 54 LTV. And that's a big difference.
Why was it that they
That was
changed?
December
But I mean, what was their
2021.
reasoning on how they told you initially versus how they ended up at 50-something%?
I knew there was no cash flow on it. I mean, so I calculated around 56 LTV. So 54 is pretty close. I mean, it's only the same thing. Right. But from 80 loan down to 56, that's a 24% down payment difference, or 26%. That's a big deal.
Right.
Yeah, I was,
you know, I was 80%, Albert.
That's their guideline, up to 80. But, you know, up to 80 is like a hypothetical. Yeah. All the unicorns align, right? But and I just did the numbers real roughly. I didn't do it like exact. I took actual taxes, actual insurance from the owner. I adjusted it based on the quote I got from insurance, and then I did their guidelines for repairs and maintenance, and then their reserves, and then I came up with around mid-50s. And she was saying I could do 80%, and, you know, just give us a chance. Of course, you want the business, I know, but can you really do 80? That's the question.
Well, Albert, you and I know it all too well that in the lending arena, there's a bunch of shysters out there that just get you down the path. And now that you're vested for 4, 6, 8 weeks worth of your time, money, and effort, that they just stay there. And
she was quick though. She took a week. I mean, but she had no malintent. I think she was just really wanted the business.
Ignorance, and not knowing your product is malintent. Yeah. I'm sorry.
Yeah. But I'm used to it though, because with these commercial lenders, I'm applying all the time. So I hear it all.
You and I are used to it because we work in the numbers and that's what we do for a living. But think about the general public that gets absolutely hosed.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, that's true.
That's where I get all soapboxy. Sorry, I'm feisty today.
Yeah, it's important. I mean, I think.
Are you in the middle of an app?
Keith?
No.
Keith, are you in the middle of an app?
No.
Yeah, it can be tough sometimes. I do my own calcs, and then I do ask them more questions. How do they arrive at the 80?
Yeah.
Is this already at the credit committee, or you just did your work spreadsheet, or are you just giving me your guidelines? Well, where'd you come up with your numbers? So
I had a broker who was trying to buy this building. Everybody wants this building. They were buying it for themselves. Husband's a general contractor. She's an agent. And she told me I was the most unprofessional. Nobody has ever asked them these questions before. And I'm like, how many buildings have you bought? I mean, I don't know. This is like basic stuff that takes like 10 minutes to answer if you look at the numbers, right? I mean, you know, so I just let them come at me, I guess I'll say. But what else is going on, everybody?
I'm
Anybody
looking
got
for deals like the 7 unit you have, Julie. Looking for stuff like that.
Yeah, well, I'm hoping to get this one done here because if I do, it's legendary, and then huge calling card for you know, going after these buildings if I can get this one done, because it's kind of, everybody knows about it, right? Everybody's been trying for probably 6-7 years to get this building. So
Probably been called by every one of those Pilot Venture or whatever, and Marcus,
everybody,
Westlake, Paragon.
yeah. And so you know,
Yeah.
it's a relationship thing, and I got to give big props to Joanna on my team who, I mean, we just literally just adopt a person and treat them like you'd treat your grandma, you know, check in on them. It's more than just a business thing. You know, you got to go deep on these relationships. So, you know, we walk her dog, right? We take her to the doctor.
With
all that
Buddy?
stuff.
Take Buddy out
Not
too?
with Buddy,
Okay.
but no. Yeah. What do you think, Bud? He's like, whatever. So yeah, what else is going on? Anybody have questions on stuff they're working on? Let's see who's here today. What's up? A little bit of a light crew. Too much good stuff going on today. Too much good stuff going on. Cecilia.
Market's crazy though still. Even with the rates going up, it's crazy.
So crazy.
Yeah, it's weird.
Hey, Cecilia. Can you hear me? Is that how I say your name? Cecilla Boswell. Hi.
Julie, yeah.
What's up?
I used to live in West
Really?
Seattle, so it's fun to hear about your West Seattle deal.
Yeah. You guys would know probably where it's at if I told you. But what's your real estate discipline? Thanks for joining us. Do you real estate? Master, broker, host, lender? Can you hear me?
I think my
Is it me or is it Julie that's breaking up?
Is it me?
Yeah, you were a little laggy.
Was I in my back to not being? Oh, safe driving mode.
Safe driving mode. Cecilia, I think what Julie was trying to ask is what world of real estate do you live in?
Yeah, so my husband and I are kind of like small multifamily BURRR investors. That's what we've been focusing on the last couple years. We used to live in Seattle area, got started in like a house hack duplex in the Bothell area a few years ago, and we relocated to Spokane about a year ago and are kind of just focused on small BURRR projects in this area now.
Oh, no, you and I are neighbors. I'm right over in Coeur d'Alene.
Oh,
Howdy.
nice.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Drop your email in the chat and we can go connect. And I'm still getting plugged in over here too, so I would love to connect with you.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, same here. We were kind of doing, we got a fixer house, so we were like heavy, like doing our own renovation like the last year or so. And so just like now starting to like get back into like finding some local meetups and that kind of thing. So
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be awesome to connect.
Yeah, you're like, priority number one, the kitchen needs to be functional. Let's focus on that.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah.
Awesome. Well, welcome. Are you looking mainly on the east side here? Would you entertain a Seattle opportunity, or are you staying over here on this side?
Yeah, we're kind of focused on Spokane right now. Just kind of like the value add stuff, we're looking for a deal right now, like 5 to 15 units, 1960s plus. But you know, super hard to find value add multifamily or kind of anything. But my husband quit his job a couple years ago, so he kind of does like full-time kind of like project managing renovations and stuff. So you definitely want to kind of
You're like fumbling on yourself.
Gotcha.
A little bit.
There's a plumbing issue.
Joe, you got that? Yeah, there you go. Thanks. So I have noticed like the density of multifamily over here, over 4 unit, is a lot smaller than in the Seattle area. So they are few and far between. But the single family to 4 units, there's a lot of deferred maintenance out there that I think if you wanted to focus on that, that could be a huge upside.
Yeah, that's kind of, yeah, what we're thinking about, like possibly. I mean, we did a triplex in Spokane. We're kind of trying, like leaning towards the 5+ just on the value add, like the appraisal side. We've kind of been burned on some 2 to 4 unit appraisals, you know, when they're looking at the comps versus like NOI kind of thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's very limited inventory for like the small multifamily or the multifamily in the area. I've started like making my own kind of list and trying to contact owners directly. And even my own list, I mean, I feel like there is like, I found like around like 40 properties that are like what I'm looking for in Spokane. And so, I mean, that's not a lot.
No, that's
Yeah.
not. But the cool thing is it's a small enough concentration of list that you could just charm the hell out of them. You could go walk 40 dogs in a week, right? You could do that. So
Yeah. Yeah, I've definitely taken some notes on that. Yeah.
yeah, totally.
Yeah. So yeah, if anyone has any tips on yeah, kind of like contacting owners, trying to find your own deals, specifically around multifamily, I'd love to hear it. So far I've been kind of like sending letters, and then I'll do a follow-up email, a little bit of texting, and then some cold calls. I've gotten some no's, and then mostly just like non-response. So yeah, definitely looking for tips around that if anyone has any advice.
My advice would be this: just because they don't respond doesn't mean they didn't get your message. Yeah. So keep it up. Say again, Holly.
Just keep following up, because they might not be ready now, but they might not be ready.
Great minds think alike, Holly. Absolutely.
How frequently are you checking back? Like once a month, or like what do you think for like a non-response kind of situation?
Anybody? You guys hear me?
Depends. I would follow up either once a month or every other month. Never hurts to drop your name out there. I mean, it also has to do a lot with your marketing message. You know, if what are you talking to them about, right? So.
Can you guys hear me?
Yep.
Oh yeah, I can hear you now, Julie.
Yeah, I agree with Keith. Like, you know, I always whenever I'm going after a particular owner, you know, after you get that initial response and however they respond, if they're like, you know, really just kind of like think of excuses on how to contact them, right? That might just be like, you know, something about, you know, what other buildings have sold in their neighborhood or something like that, or, you know, anything to do with that, right? You know, but it's really just being there when they're ready. I think with apartment building owners, though, it's easier. It's a different response you'll get out of the gate, right? It's either, yes, I'd consider selling at some point, or no, I'm not going to consider, you know, selling it, right? It probably just, if you can get a hold of them, maybe a great way to contact people is if they, like when they have units for rent, right? And, you know, I don't know if you're, you know, just call them up when they have units for rent, and talk to them about, you know, if they've considered selling, or, you know, blah, 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 you know, just conversing really. Right. There's no magic bullet, I don't think, at all. Do you guys think? Have you looked at on-market stuff or just off-market stuff? Like Dion says, there's ability to get stuff on market if you know, have the right you know, package for how you're approaching it, I guess I would say.
Yeah, definitely open to on market. It's just been such limited inventory for what we're looking for. And then the ones that are on market, they seem to go all cash, over asking, and then just at the price point that it ends up getting bid up to doesn't really make sense for our numbers. That's what we've seen with like the on market stuff lately.
Did you say you're looking 10 to 20 units? Or
Like 5 to 15.
5 to 15? You know, those 15 unit buildings are probably more controlled by the brokers. A bit. The larger the building, the more the brokers are involved. So, you know, I would be spending time, you know, reaching out to some of those brokers. Did you say you already own some buildings over there where you're looking?
Yeah, we have a 6 unit and a 9 unit, and the 9 unit we got last year was direct through the broker that we got the 6 unit on, so that was off market. So that's definitely, I think, we want to start reaching out to more brokers because, yeah, I think that totally makes sense on that too.
You know what I would do is I would go from the buildings that you own, and I would go at a mile or 2 or whatever radius around there, and I would send a letter to every single property owner in that radius that says, hey, I'm one of your neighbors here, local landlord. We own these 2 buildings, give them the address, and we're looking to purchase some more units. And, you know, if you've thought about selling, you know, we're qualified and we don't want to waste your time or our time. We'll make a quick decision, you know, try and meet your goals. If you'd like to have a conversation or give us a shout when you're, you know, thinking about selling, you know, please contact us. So you've demonstrated, hey, I'm already in the neighborhood. I own these buildings. We're just looking to scale up, right? It's like telling a story without actually having to say it, right? Because you're demonstrating that you're qualified just by the way that you're communicating. That's what I would do.
Yeah, that's a great idea. I'll definitely do that.
Yeah. You know, or join the local, you know, rental housing association down there is also one thing I would do to network, you know, with other landlords. I don't know how much networking is going on these days, but good stuff. Well, cool. And that was in Spokane?
Yeah, Spokane.
Over here, a lot more than over there.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So cool. Well, good luck. What else you got? Anything else? Anybody got anything exciting? Any big news?
I just wanted to confirm that, Julie. That's what the brokers always call me with, that pitch that you were talking about earlier.
What was the pitch?
Like, you know, we saw you bought this property, or, you know, our buyers bought these 2 properties and we're looking for something similar. And then we noticed you bought something similar to that. Would you be interested in more of this X, whatever X is?
Yeah, I mean, I would call up all the brokers and tell them the same too. Hey, we own these 2 buildings. We're looking to scale up. That's going to get their attention, right?
Yeah, it's a better ask because usually I'm expecting them to ask me to list mine.
Right.
But they're not. They're asking me if I want to buy another one. I said, yes, of course, if it's a good deal. And then they proceed to ask you, will you pay us our full comp? I'm like, if it's a great deal, I'll pay you your full 4% or whatever your Marcus Millichap comp is, whatever.
Right. Yeah, work yourself into the deal.
If it's built in,
you can work yourself in. Yeah.
Yeah. And they said, will you sign the comp agreement? I'm like, not for like a contract, but for a specific purpose. Sure. You guys got to be careful. They want you to sign those comp agreements for like a full year to be like an exclusive agent for that buyer broker agreement. So you guys got to watch out for that.
Right. Don't sign anything. I don't think signing something for 30 days or 60 days or something like that is necessarily a big deal, but not for, for a year.
I reworded it. I made it so if they're the procuring cause of the contract at the price that I deem reasonable or acceptable, then I will agree to pay X comp. But their wording was like, we will be an exclusive agent for you for anything, even if this doesn't close, but it closes later, you agree to pay us a comp. That's what their wording is.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
You know how I would go about sourcing buildings as well, you guys, for all of you, is I would, we don't know as far as the loan, I would go in and check the loan, like when the loan closed, and see if you could figure out any information about that on maybe they have a refinance coming up. Maybe they have a loan coming due. And so a great time to hit up landlords is when they need to refinance, right? When their loan's coming up is a good time, right? Because they have to take this action. Who knows what their situation is, or what pressure that causes on them. Maybe they had COVID issues. I don't know. Maybe their rents went down during COVID and now they're going to have to re-up their loan for less. Who knows what it is? But I always, even for houses, for off-market houses, one of my main sources of info, how I back into whatever list I'm going to pull, is I mess around with second loans, or see who's got a second loan or any type of low maturity stuff, or anything that has been maybe looked at as a quick claim sale or something. Maybe somebody inherited an apartment building, right? And kind of reverse engineering a list, or at least, like I said, if you already own something, do kind of a expansion from there because it tells a good story. But I think backing into things with loans, because you could see something that's 100% occupied these days, doesn't mean that it's still going to work out on the numbers for whatever happened in the last 3 years to screw everybody up on their appraisal, because they can't get their loan without an appraisal. And if, you would think somebody that's been on like a 10-year term loan or something like that has plenty of equity at this point, right? But maybe you're going to find apartment buildings that have, I don't know, some sort of, you can do a search on who's got a second loan on their property. And that might be an indication of something. They need the money for something, who knows? Or if you're a broker, maybe you'll end up there being a buyer, who knows? So what else? We got a slim crew today. Maybe we won't make it all the way. Maybe we won't, maybe we will. Who else is here? Kevin? Oops, I just zapped myself out. Can you guys still see me? I keep screwing something up here. Can you guys see me? Hear me?
We can't see you, but we can hear you.
There we go. Anybody else got anything they need help with today, want to talk about? Anybody?
I had a question about getting tenants out of a property. I haven't personally done it, so I just wanted to know if anyone else had experience about getting tenants out to renovate a property.
Are you're a Gig Harbor one?
Yeah.
I mean, you have to check the rules. Are they month to month?
This current property, I'm not sure. I think they're year leases.
Where is this one located?
Gig Harbor.
Yeah, you have to. You have to check like city and county rules on required noticing.
Okay.
And all that stuff. You need to do your research, and it's county or city by city too. So I would, you have to do a little bit of a deep dive there. You can always try cash for keys, right? To try and get them out, but you'd have to read up on that. Anybody else have any tips they want to add on that? Anybody tried to do that?
We did on our 9-unit last year. once the moratorium was lifted, we just, our property manager gave notice for like a significant rent increase. And we had 6 out of 9 tenants just move on their own due to that.
Right. So you also need to check on the rules of, I doubt in Gig Harbor it would be the case, but some places are going to have rules on the percentage increase over the existing rent triggers a longer notice period, or possibly even relocation fees. I mean, every city and every county are so different these days. You just got to read up on it, right? But yeah, like in the city of Seattle, there's like you have to offer them to renew if they're in their first lease term. It's very complicated. I don't think it's that way in Gig Harbor, but you know, these last few years, everything has changed. So just make sure that you're not bumping into any thresholds on your noticing periods. And then make sure that, I think when you give somebody a notice, I think there's something about having an expiration date on it, right? Like they need to respond by a certain date, or this notice expires as of, you know, I'm not a lawyer, so don't listen to me, but, you know, just read the stuff carefully in regards to what it tells you to do on your noticing timelines, if that makes sense. You know, the best thing to do, honestly, is, again, it gets down to relationships, right? The hard part is, regardless of what you say or do or notice or whatever, problem is people need somewhere to go. And if they don't have somewhere to go, it doesn't matter kind of what you say, they're not going to walk out and be homeless. So the way I'd approach it is try and find some alternatives on where they could move and serve that up to them, right? And help them, then offer them some cash keys or something like that to move. You know, Dion, the way he does it, I don't know if you ever heard how Dion McNeely does his rent increases, is that he has a whole book of what the rents are around the area for comparable properties. And he sits down and he shows it to him and he says, you know, it's time to do a rent increase. You know, I want to talk to you about that. And he involves them in their, I think he did a video, if you look on his YouTube channel, I think it's called Dion Talk, something like Dion Talk Financial Freedom or something. He probably shared his binder method that he uses with his tenants. Now that might work, you know, I don't know if you have a certain goal that you need to hit with the rent increase, you know, to meet your pro forma numbers for your investment. But otherwise, you could ask Dion about that or come back. He'll probably be back next week and we can have him cover that. It's kind of an interesting way that he does that. He involves them and shows them this is what your alternative is if you move out. So, you know, what do you think would be a reasonable rent increase, right? You know, going to give you a chance to be a part of that. It's kind of pretty interesting the way he goes about it. Have you heard him talk about that, Holly? Anybody else? Is that me? I know some of you guys have been here when he's mentioned that before. Pretty interesting.
Yeah, I've heard him intro it, not explain it.
Yeah. Yeah, check his, I don't know if he put it on his YouTube channel or whatever, but I'm sure he'll probably be back, or I can tap him on the shoulder to make sure he's here next week. He's probably dealing with all the gas hikes, right? He's somehow in the trucking business of some sort. Imagine they're getting hit with these gas prices. Although, you know, if you're not in a business that requires that, I personally am like, boy, if that's, you know, to help Ukraine, I'll be willing to pay more at the pump, you know, myself. But crazy stuff. Crazy stuff. What else? Otherwise, I'm going to wrap it down here. You guys are kind of quiet today. Let me get back to work here. What time is it, Joe? Anybody? I don't know what time it is.
1:12.
12:12. 12:12. How's the snow, Joe?
We've had 2 powder days in a row, so snow is great.
Awesome. And will you be jumping back out there after this, or?
No, actually, this is gonna probably finish it up. There's no storms in the forecast, so we're probably gonna make our slow drive back up to the northwest starting tomorrow.
Oh,
Seemed
wow.
like this was the last big hit that we see in the forecast.
Nice. We are, there's no school for us tomorrow, so we're gonna be at Stevens Pass. If anybody'd like to meet me there, I'll be at Stevens Pass tomorrow. Last weekend, Addison found some valley of powder, probably the only powder on the mountain that was not crunchy, off piste somewhere. And so we kind of were plowing down that on the backside, and about third time around, I did like a face plant somersault. It was awesome. And I thought, oh man, I'm getting old. I better let
No,
kids, like just cruise without me here for a while. So I went.
you're speaking my language. I do faceplant somersaults every single time I snowboard.
Super awesome. That's right. If you guys were in the faceplant somersault club. All right. Anybody else today, or else I'm going to wind it up. There's a bunch of meetups going on today, so I didn't try too hard pumping this out here today because, frankly, I would love to see people attend a couple of those other meetups going on with some great people that they can learn from. But if you're not there now, you missed it. So, anybody last words, or I'm going to call it today so I can get back to work. And Joe can get back to having a great life. What are you guys up to? Anybody say anything, or say thanks, see you later next week?
Yeah, thanks so much. Always appreciate all the great information here and the podcast and everything. So,
Oh, much
yeah.
appreciated. Thank you. Yeah, it's fun. It's amazing. Usually every week there's something that we talk about, that some little nugget that pops out. So hope somebody got something today. But all right, guys, I'm gonna wind it down and see you guys next Thursday.
Okay.
All right. Adios, amigos and amigas.
Thanks,
See ya.
Julie. See you guys later.